The Secret Hour at My Door, Part 2. Faces turned toward the trembling creature on the floor. "We knew it. She's a witch," some shouted. "Yes, now she admits it," others spat. Kofi's voice broke through the confusion. He stepped forward, holding up his hands. "Wait, please. Stop throwing stones. Listen to her. Let her speak." The villagers hesitated. The stones in their hands stopped, their eyes still sharp with suspicion. At this point, Ifi was so scared, wondering what would happen next. Suddenly, a woman from the crowd screamed, "If Kofi doesn't leave that witch alone, we will stone him too." A shiver ran through Kofi. His knees almost gave way as he imagined the first stone striking him. He clenched his fist, trying to steady himself. Now his voice shook as he forced some words out. It just gave her a chance to speak. But the crowd will not calm easily. Another man shouted, "If an owl perches on your roof, it means calamity. It brings spells. It brings death or misfortune. Why should we spare it?" An older villager added, "Yes, if it is truly her daughter, then why doesn't the owl perch on her mother's roof? Why on someone else's roof? Tell us that." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Effie stepped forward, tears filling her eyes. "It might have been a mistake. Please don't kill her. She is my child. My own child." The mob hesitated again, torn between rage and curiosity. Kofi's heart was uncertain. He didn't know whether to stand with his people who saw danger in every shadow, or with Effie, whose trembling plea carried the weight of a hidden truth. What surprised him most was why was Effie claiming that the half-owl, half-human found that night was her daughter. He couldn't get it right. After long arguments, the villagers finally agreed not to kill the creature that night. Fear still showed in their eyes, but they decided to hold her until morning. "Lock her away," one man ordered. "Yes, in the old abandoned cottage," another added. Together, they dragged the half-human, half-owl figure, weak, trembling, back to the old cottage. The crowd surrounded the strange figure with torches, pushing her toward the edge of the village. Effie wept bitterly as she followed the crowd, begging them not to harm her daughter. The mob forced armor, as Effie claimed was the name of the half-owl, half-human, inside the dusty cottage, and shut the door with a heavy beam. "Let her stay there tonight," an elder announced. "At sunrise, we shall decide her fate." That night, the happy village of Poku no longer felt the same. Whispers filled the air, hearts beat with the fear of what dawn would bring. After the incident, Effie headed directly to her cottage. From afar, she could see her granddaughter, Effia, who was looking so scared, sitting under a tree with a cloth covering her whole body. Effie held Effia tightly under the tree, her voice shaking. "Your mother was changing. She's slowly turning human again. From her waist down, she was no longer an owl." Effia's eyes filled with tears. "Then it means she's healing? Is she free?" Effie shook her head. "No, my child, it means you are the one. The priest's words are true. If you should find true love, if you should marry a man who has never seen your face before, only then will your mother be free. Her cares will be broken." Effia gasped, pressing her hands to her chest. "Me? Grandmother, then who could it be? Who in this village has ever seen me before? And who in our village Amansa has never seen me before?" Effie's voice dropped to a whisper. "That, my child, is the question. Perhaps tonight is the good news. Your mother promised. She flew wrongly, and now she is caught. But even in suffering, she gives a sign. The time is near. Your fate, Effia, would decide his." Poor Effia sat frozen, face half covered, heart heavy with destiny. That night, Kofi tossed restlessly on his bed. Sleep refused him. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that beautiful body, fair legs, smooth skin, long hair. The mystery of the cottage burned in his mind. He wished for courage. All his life, he had wanted a partner, but never found one worthy. He asked himself, "Is this the one?" He finally left his hut and headed to Effie's cottage in the dark. "Nana, What exactly is the reason why the woman is half owl, half human? He asked, trembling. Effie sighed. One day, someone brought food to my daughter, Amma. She ate it thinking I had sent it to her. By the time I returned, she had transformed into an owl form. In Amansa, the highest priest said nothing could be done, unless... She paused. But I will not tell you all yet, Kofi. You can't believe my own children abandoned me in Amansa, believing I am a witch, Effie added. Kofi swallowed deeply. Nana, if I should beg you for a favor, would you please grant it to me? Effie nodded in agreement, remembering his kindness when everyone rejected her. Remember your granddaughter you once gave me her food? Can I have her hands in marriage, as thanks for all I have done to help you? Effie looked at him strangely, then nodded. You may marry her, but promise me you would never hurt her or change towards her. Kofi promised, and Effie added another condition. You can only see her after you get the marriage rites done, and she completely becomes your wife. And Kofi agreed, but this time he was a bit scared. He said to Effie, if there's anything wrong with Ifia, please don't hide it from me. I may feel bad and deceived if I realize something is off after our marriage, and Effie reassured him. Kofi agreed, though his heart trembled. My son, tomorrow morning go to Amansa. When you reach, follow the path I showed you. There you would find my daughter. Her name is Mansa. She still trusts me. When you see her, tell her I sent you. She'll take you straight to Ifia's father's house. Kofi listened with full attention. His heart pounded, for he knew how dangerous this plan was, but there was no turning back. Effie continued, it is in her father's house that the rites must be performed. Kofi swallowed hard, then nodded. I will go, Nana. Tomorrow morning, I will go with my parents. We will do everything the right way. Effie smiled faintly. Relief washed over her. That same night, Kofi went to his parents' house and told them. He said he had found a wife, though they didn't know her. They were very excited because it's a moment they've waited too long for. He explained the conditions and they made plans quickly. Before the first cock crowed the next day, Kofi was already awake, his heart pounding like a drum. He had hardly slept through the night. By the time the faintest lights broke the horizon, he and his parents were ready. His father, determined to waste no time, hired one of the horse-drawn carts, the kind with two large tires and a roof of wood and zinc that the villagers used as transport. The carts rattled and shook as the horse pulled them along the rough path. The air was still cool, and a thin mist lay across the farmlands. None of them spoke much on the way. The weight of the mission filled the silence. Kofi's mother occasionally glanced at her son, her lips moving in silent prayers. She was proud of him for finally finding a bride, but this unusual secrecy made her uneasy. Effie's direction repeated over and over in Kofi's head. The closer they came to the village, the tighter Kofi's chest became. Finally, the cart rattled into Amansa. The morning sun was just rising. Farmers were already stepping out to their fields. Kofi's eyes darted left and right, scanning the paths nervously. He was following the direction in his mind carefully, hoping he wouldn't miss a thing. Later in the day, when the sun had fully risen, Kofi and his parents were almost at the outskirts of Amansa. But far away in Poko, a different story was unfolding. The chief who had heard the confession of the previous night had sent his guards to bring Effie and Ifia to his palace. When they reached the palace, Effie and Ifia were brought before the chief. The entire courtyard felt silent. Even the elders seated around the chief could not hide their surprise at the girl's striking appearance. The chief's deep voice broke the stillness. Bring the creature here. Bring the half-woman, half-owl. He ordered his guards. The guards rushed off and soon returned, dragging the weak figure. Her lower body had already transformed into that of a woman. Many villagers turned away. Others clutched charms around their necks. Some raised stones, their anger boiling over. The chief raised his hands and silenced them. He asked the old woman every question he thought could help settle the matter. his voice firm but patient. Yet, instead of giving clear answers, she kept going around in circles, mumbling, changing her words and avoiding the point. At last, the chief, weary and offended, began to pronounce their banishment from the village, but before his words could settle, the strange figure lying on the ground, the half-human, half-owl, shifted and transformed into a complete human being. The villagers stared with wide eyes and opened mouths. Their anger turned into confusion. Everyone feared what was going on. The strange incident was a sign to Ife and Ifia that the marriage rites has been completed. All of a sudden, Ife gained courage and told the villagers everything, how Ifia must find true love for her mother to return to human form. The crowd, once angry, now softened and admired Ifia. When the chief granted them permission to go home, many of the young men even offered to escort them, secretly hoping to win Ifia's heart. For the first time ever, Pokia, once the village's beauty, felt ignored and unseen and walked home alone in anger. Before sunset, Kofi and his parents finally reached Poko village. With them came Mansa, Abufi and Menu, the children of Ife and Kwame, Ahmed's husband, and a father to Ifia. They had barely stepped into the village when they heard whispers about what had happened at the chief's palace, and above all the mysterious beauty named Ifia. At Ife's cottage, Kofi stood in shock. The once lonely hut now had young men hurrying around it. Some carried firewood, others brought foodstuffs, and some simply lingered with eager smiles trying to be of use. The sight unsettled him. He had never seen Ife treated with such honor. Ife was overjoyed to see her once broken family reunite. She explained to Kofi's parents everything. When Kofi's parents saw Ifia, her beauty, calmness and dignity was all they felt. Without hesitation, they accepted her. That very night, Ifia left her grandmother's cottage to Kofi's house. Both families sat down and made plans for the marriage celebration the very next day. In that night, Ifia and Kofi sat together in his hut. She hadn't known he was so handsome up close, and he couldn't believe he now held the most beautiful girl in the village as his wife. They hardly spoke, only smiled and stared at each other, as though afraid that if they looked away, the dream would vanish. The next morning, the village of Poko had never looked more alive. From the crack of dawn, women carried pots of palm wine and baskets of food, men erected canopies, and drummers tuned their instruments. Word had spread like wildfire. Kofi was getting married. No one had ever heard him speak of love before, so the entire village buzzed with curiosity. Girls who had once admired him, some who had even dreamt of being his bride, dressed in their finest clothes and painted their faces, determined to see who had stolen his heart. When the moment came, all eyes turned to the entrance. Out stepped Kofi, tall and striking in his regal cloth, his hand locked firmly with that of a breathtaking bride, Ifia. A sight too perfect for words. Some of the villagers clapped and cheered, but jealousy cut through the joy like a hidden knife. Some girls commented bitterly, some young men sighed in defeat, and some women stared with jealousy. Someone rushed to Pokia's house with the news. When she heard it, her legs nearly gave way. Her heart pounded as though it would burst. Kofi married? Already? She gasped, her face in shock. Still, she forced herself to go, determined to see the bride with her own eyes. But when she arrived, her world crumbled. There was Kofi, holding Ifia's hands tightly as though nothing could separate them. They matched so perfectly that even the elders whispered that the gods themselves might have brought them together. Pokia froze in the crowd. For the second time in her life, nobody even admired her presence. Her chest tightened, her knees shook, and before she could utter a word, she collapsed. Rumors spread quickly. Pokia fainted. Some of those who still cared for her covered her whole body with a cloth and carried her back to her parents' house. The celebration went on without her. Drums tended, voices rose in song, and the people of Poku danced late into the night, rejoicing over Kofi and Ifia, the couple who had captured every heart. The end. Tell me in the comment section what you've learned from this story.